Lesson 85, Graphing of a Line. This is a very important lesson, and you're going to be using this for a long time, during all your math career and beyond. So let's make sure you learn it well, okay? So this equation that I wrote there, y equals mx plus b, is the equation of a line. So every time you have something that looks like that, and I'll give you examples in just a minute, you are going to end up with a line, with a straight line. So let's look at what we have. We have two variables, which are y and x. And that means that they're going to be changing. That's what variables means, that we can change the value that they have. But we also have two constants, which are m and b. And what that means is that they don't change. Once we have a value for them, that's what the value is for that exercise. Now, I'm going to just introduce this to you. We're not going to be using this information in this lesson a lot, but it's good that you understand what's happening. M is what we call the slope, the direction of the line. And B is what we call the intercept with the y-axis. So just get familiar with that equation, y equals mx plus b. We're going to be talking about it a lot and using it a lot, so just get used to it. And you will see how the slope and the y-axis, the intercept with the y-axis, are going to become something very easy to use and to identify. All right, so we have to graph this line in this first example. Y equals x minus 2. Notice that there's a 1 in front of the x, that would be our m, and the minus 2 is the b. I'm just identifying them so we get familiar with this equation. Okay, there are two different ways to graph. Today I'm going to teach you one that is with the table. So we're going to have x and y, which are our variables, and we're going to choose three numbers. Now remember, in math, you always want to simplify your life. Make it as easy as possible. So I have to choose three numbers, but I'm going to choose three easy numbers because if I choose 50, I'm going to work with a really big number. So I'm going to choose -1, 0, and 1. Or you can choose 0, 1, and 2. Just make sure that they're numbers that are small and that you can easily work with, okay? Now, after we do that, what we're going to do is evaluate in the equation. Our equation is x minus 2. So we're going to change the values of x for the values that we chose. So in the first one, we have to change the value of x for -1, and then we have minus 2. What is -1 minus 2? That's -3. So that's the answer we're going to put here. So what we're saying is that when x is -1, then y is -3. Let's see what happens with 0. If we change x for 0, 0 minus 2 is -2, so that would be the answer. And for the last one, if we change x for 1, 1 minus 2 is -1. So these are our points. Notice that if I put here a parenthesis and a comma, it's easy to see that those are the coordinates of 3 points that we just found. Now, it's very important to remember that we want 3 points. We always want 3 because 2, it's always going to create a line. But if we use 3 points and we graph them, then we are sure if we have a line or if we did something wrong, we're going to get a triangle. So you need to make sure that you use 3 points. Okay, once we have the 3 points, what we're going to do is graph them. Remember to use your graphing paper and put the lines of the y-axis, this is the y-axis, and the x-axis on one of the lines of your graphing paper. Don't do it in the middle like this, okay? Don't do that. All right, and then remember that to graph those points, we move first horizontally and then vertically. So -1 is here to the left, that's -1. And then -3 is going down 3, -1, -2, -3. So if you imagine yourself in the center and you move 1 to the left and 3 down, you end up here. That is our first point. Then we're going to do 0, negative 2. So we don't move left or right, we just go down 2. And that's going to be our second point. And the last one is 1, negative 1. So I move 1 to the right and 1 down. So that would be the third point. If I use a ruler to connect these 3 points, I have a straight line. And that is the graph of this equation, y equals x minus 2. Very, very simple. Okay? So let's do another example, and I'll let you do it by yourself first. Make sure you do your table with x and y. Choose 3 numbers. It can be negative 1, 0, and 1, or any other number you want, but make sure they're small. Then evaluate in the equation by changing the value of x. And then once you find y and you have the 3 points, graph them and draw the line. Okay, pause the video and then you can check your work with my process. Okay, so I chose negative 1, 0, and 2 just to do something different. You guys see that we can choose any number. Okay, and now we're going to substitute instead of x. So we're going to change the value of x and we're going to put negative 1. Remember, super important to use parentheses when you do that change. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, and negative 2 minus 3, both are negative, so the answer is negative 5. Then we have 0, so 2 times 0 minus 3, that's going to be 0 minus 3, which is negative 3. And the last one is 2 times 2. Again, notice how I'm using parentheses in all of them. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay? Now we're going to graph these things in the coordinate plane. And so we have negative 1, negative 5, which is negative 1 is here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's our point. Then 0, negative 3, we don't move left or right, we just move down. And the last point is going to be 2 and 1 up. So 2 to the right and 1 up. And notice that those 3 points are in one line. Now I don't have a ruler, but you use a ruler to connect your 3 points and find your line. And it should look very similar to that one. Okay, I hope you did well. This is very important, so if you have any questions, please watch the video again. Make sure you understand this because we're going to be using it a lot. All right, I'll see you in the next video.